Hi folks, so today I'm going to do part 2 of the testosterone video series. When I did the first one, after I did it I realized there's probably a lot more that we can talk about here. And so we go back to our diagram of where we were. The biggest conversion that we try to avoid is this one. This is the one where testosterone becomes estrogen. And one of the things that we need to talk about is certain things shut down the body. So I made a guide that has all of this information. And so I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put the contact information in here about how you get this guide. It's for free. You just got to go into my other group. It's a metabolic programming group. That's where I work on actually trying to fix a lot of these things. I'll put the link in here in this video. So one of the things we need to talk about is a couple reasons why the body will minimize making testosterone. The first reason is that it already has enough testosterone, so there's a certain amount that the brain, the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland are asking for, and once that level is reached, then it won't make more. And the other one is that if the estrogen level gets high, it inhibits this even stronger than testosterone itself, because estrogen is downhill. It's the most terminal end of testosterone metabolism, so it very strongly inhibits the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the bad part about that is this can come from external sources. This can come from other things. So I'm going to talk about that today a little bit, and I'm also going to talk about some of the things that you need to keep your testosterone level up. Okay, so the first one is, and the single biggest thing that you can do to keep your testosterone levels up, is to lose body fat or stay lean. And the reason is estrogen, the biggest site that turns testosterone into estrogen is in your body fat. And so as testosterone goes into your circulation, as it goes through body fat, there's an enzyme that's very rich in body fat, and that's called the aromatase enzyme. And the aromatase enzyme turns testosterone, it changes the chemical structure, it has a ring, and so once it gets like aromatized, that happens in fat and other peripheral tissue, but then it puts estrogen back into the circulation, that shuts the testosterone down. So there are things that we want to do, but the first one is trying to be lean, trying to lose body fat. And so I've seen losing body fat alone as being helpful in restoring testosterone levels. The second thing is we need adequate sleep. So most people need between 7 and 9 hours of sleep a night. I used to be a person that would think I could get by on 5 or 4 or whatever it was that I was doing, and that's not true. I was kind of lying to myself. 80% of people need 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, preferably some of those hours occurring before midnight, just from the chronobiology and the way that the body orients to the sun and the solar cycle works better. And then in the morning, generally testosterone levels come up, so if you've had adequate rest, the body will kind of ramp up and produce testosterone, and that gives the man the kind of the go-to to go out into the day and kill the animal or do whatever. So that's important. So we know losing body fat, getting adequate sleep. We also know that certain things you eat have an impact on your testosterone levels. So just from the list here, cruciferous vegetables, cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, they inhibit the conversion of testosterone to estrogen with some sulfur-based chemicals called DIM, diindolylmethane. The other one is indole 3-carbinol. So eating adequate amounts of those, some every day, is best. So I don't particularly like Brussels sprouts, but I will force myself to eat them because they're good for me. Broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, all same. They all have DIM in them, and they also inhibit that. Then there's things on the other side. So cholesterol is the basis for testosterone, estrogen, DHT, progesterone. You have to have adequate cholesterol around. So some people who are taking statin medications, the anti-cholesterol medications, may have problems with sex hormone synthesis. Also, people who eat a very strict vegan or vegetarian diet may also have problems with this. So I always recommend people eat things like eggs, good sources of eggs like pastured eggs, oysters, beef, salmon. Those are all good sources of fats, and they lend towards a healthier hormone profile. Also, good dietary fats, good quality butter or ghee, coconut oil, olive oil or avocado oil are all good oils to eat. And then the omegas, like the omega-3 fats that are in very ample in some nuts, some seeds, but more than likely fish, cold water fish. And then I also encourage nuts. So nuts, things like macadamias are fantastic. Pistachios, walnuts, almonds. They have good fat profiles. They're actually good for your metabolism in general, so they don't inhibit this system, and they're very good for you. You need adequate minerals. One of the chief minerals that you need to make testosterone is zinc. Then it's also magnesium, selenium, some boron, which is a trace mineral, but you still need some, and iodine and iron. And iodine and iron usually get left off this list, but iodine is used by every cell. It's doing lots of things in lots of places. You need it to have good cellular function. And then iron is used a lot to catalyze reactions and move enzymes along the way. As far as nutrients are concerned, your B vitamins, B12, folate, choline, vitamin D. Vitamin D, especially from the sun, if you can get it. So where I am, it's not going to be sunny for maybe 6 months or so. So I'm taking supplemental vitamin D. But if you can get it from the sun, because it stimulates a hormone called melanocyte stimulating hormone, that's great for sex drive. That's great for a number of other things that have to do with chronobiology and cell biology. And so the supplements, and so don't go crazy on supplements. Eat the foods that we talked about here that I have in this guide. The supplements are DIM, indole 3-carbinol, resveratrol is good for this, calcium D-glucarate, and then there's an amino acid called D-aspartic acid that helps the body to make more testosterone. But these testosterone releasing formulas and things, they tend to work maybe for a little bit of time. I don't think it's enough. I don't think they do enough to actually cause much in the way of a physiological effect. So if you're a man and you're looking to boost your testosterone because you think you're going to pile on a lot more muscle, it's probably not going to happen. You'd have to go well beyond the physiological range of 1100 or more to get like a real noticeable effect from something like that. So if you, let's say they bump your testosterone up 100 or so points for a little while, you may have some non-muscular related benefits. You might notice increased libido, a little bit more energy and things, but I don't think you're going to pile on 20 pounds of muscle by increasing your testosterone that way. And so that's why a lot of men have gone towards the TRT route, which is the replacement of testosterone through medications. The other thing that stimulates your testosterone level is weight training. So especially multi-joint movements, deadlifts, squats, power cleans. These tax the nervous system, and the body's response then is to create more testosterone to help repair and rebuild the muscles. And so heavy weightlifting or explosive weightlifting, moving weights rapidly, exerting a lot of force, using a lot of power. Cold exposure as well. So if you get some cold exposure, cold bath, cold shower, that can also bump up testosterone levels a bit. And then sex on a frequent basis. So, best with a partner, but there we go. So the other things, the next part of this is we want to talk about the effects of high estrogen. And so this is the conversion, this guy right here, this is what we're trying to stop. So it has a lot of effects, and so this is underrated, underappreciated. This high estrogen level that a lot of men, especially my age, I'm 48, a lot of men my age have high estrogen levels, and that causes a myriad of problems. Depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, moodiness, crankiness, sadness or crying, erectile dysfunction, inability to sustain erection, loss of libido or desire, breast tissue development, loss of muscle mass, low bone density, increased body fat, which is part of this vicious cycle because fat causes more estrogen, and then estrogen causes more fat. So we got to jump off that train. That's part of this metabolic programming that I do, is to get your metabolism working right so that all of these hormone systems work together. And then prostate growth and prostate cancer. So the medical establishment has villainized this guy for all prostate stuff. And in reality, it is partly responsible, and so is this. So these are like the evil twins of prostate. So too much estrogen is definitely going to cause prostate dysfunction, benign prostatic hypertrophy. It's going to cause problems with your prostate. So there's some things that you want to avoid. One of those things is processed foods and processed grains. They're inflammatory, they interfere with hormone biofeedback, they don't do well for systems like this. A lot of seed oils, corn oil, canola oil, the ones that are in the clear plastic bottles in the grocery store, soybean oil, those things, don't eat those things. They're not good for anything. They're cheap and they have lots of poor health effects. They're just not good things to consume. I consider them to be poison, so I don't eat them. Putting certain things on your skin. Two things in particular have shown up in the research multiple times. One of them is lavender, and the other one is tea tree oil. Now, if you do it every once in a while, it's not that big a deal. But if you did it daily, it's enough to cause endocrine disruption. So you shouldn't do that. If you use it occasionally, fine, not daily. BPA plastics. So you'll notice now in a lot of plastics that they'll say BPA free. The reason for that is that bisphosphoenol, I'm trying to remember exactly what it means, but it has estrogen-like effects. So it acts like estrogen. So if it's acting like estrogen, it can also stop the production of testosterone. So it could have some pretty systematic problems, cause some systematic problems in your body. So soy products. So you got to be careful with your soy milk, soy proteins. They have some fats that could be estrogenic. And they also have what's called phytoestrogens, which could also be a little bit of a problem. Flax seeds. So if you're vegan, vegetarian, and you're looking to replace your omega-3 fats, men especially need to be careful with flax seeds. They have lignans, and they have some phytoestrogens that could cause men to have some problems. So I think chia seeds as well a little bit, but not so much hemp seed. I'm trying to remember exactly, but I think that's correct. And then any other source of what's called xenoestrogens or xenoestrogens. And that's like estrogens coming from the outside in. That would be pesticides, herbicides, industrial chemicals. And so there are places where these industrial chemicals run off into water, and the fish in that area get sterile, or they develop sexual dimorphism or some different sexual things because of the estrogenic properties of the either fertilizers or pesticides or herbicides, whatever's going in there. So avoid as much of that as possible. That means trying to eat more organic, more healthy, or growing your own fruits and vegetables as close to the earth as you can. And then when you eat commercially raised cattle, beef, a lot of them have estrogens in them to accelerate the fat. So if you could buy grass-fed meat and grass-finished meats, that's better. And then pastured eggs from chickens that can roam around and eat what chickens eat. And then same with all meats, as close to the earth as possible, as far away from factory farmed as possible. So those are the biggies that I can think of off the top of my head. Of course, questions are welcome. Sharing the video is welcome if anybody wants the guide. And so I've made some diagrams to make it more understandable. It's a lot of chemistry and it's a lot of biochemistry, but I made a PDF document. I'm going to put it in my metabolic programming group, and I'm going to put that link here, and I welcome you over to that group. I welcome your questions. Like I said, like and share, and we'll be back with the next topic in this group. Whatever is selected, I put a poll up, so whatever you guys decide, we'll talk about that. All right, have a great night, and I'll talk to you later. Oh, one more thing before I go. These chemical translations, this from here to here and from here to here, they're irreversible. So when testosterone is turned into estrogen, it doesn't ever turn back into testosterone. And when it's turned into DHT from 5-alpha reductase, it doesn't turn back. So we have to watch these inhibitory mechanisms because they're not flowing back into testosterone. So that's important. I left that out of there, but I know that that's something that occasionally someone will ask me, well, can it turn back into testosterone? No, it cannot. No, it does not. So that's it. All right. I'll talk to you next time. I'll see you on the group.